Well, good morning. It's a very bright morning. Saturday, March 6th. Still quite chilly, but next week it's supposed to be above freezing for several days, so that will be pleasant change. I'm getting kind of tired of the cold weather. I have lots to do yet. This is another in my Mars series, and it's a bit different. I still believe it is part of a practical examination of Mars colonization, but you're probably going to think that this is kind of one of those woo-woo mystical ideas. But in all seriousness, I've thought of this idea quite deeply for years, and I think it's something that needs to be at least kept in mind when living on Mars. So, as the title has said, we're earthlings. Now, what that means is, in this context, is our bodies, everything about us, is derived from the plants and animals and chemicals, however you want to define that, of Earth. So we are earthlings. And what I believe is that with long-term occupation of Mars, I think what we're going to encounter is a psychosis, if you will. It's not really a very good word, but it's the only thing I can think of right at the moment. A disturbance that we're going to notice on Mars because our bodies are derived from everything that's on Earth, on a different planet. Now, why I say that is Earth is very different from Mars. It's a different size. It's in a different orbit, it's closer to the sun. And the way I describe it is that it has a certain resonance, if you will, a certain general frequency that is very specific and unique to this planet. And everything, all the material of the planet resonates the same way. Including our bodies. And all of our equipment. Now, the equipment's not going to have any problem. It's more or less inert, but our organic bodies, our mental state, our everything that's about us that makes us conscious, sentient, aware beings has a, broadly speaking, particular frequency that is in tune to Earth. And Mars is very, very different. Smaller, farther away from the sun. Different history altogether. And a different frequency. Everything about Mars is different from Earth. And I believe we're going to find that our bodies are going to be out of tune with Mars. And I think, and I believe, that incompatibility is going to manifest itself as some sort of mental itch that can't be scratched. I expect some people will be more susceptible to that kind of problems than others. And that's going to continue to be an issue for quite some time. Certainly initially, we're going to be almost entirely dependent on Earth resources, including food, for our survival on Mars. It's going to be quite some time before colonies, or a colony, the first colony, let's say, will be able to generate a meaningful amount of their own food on Mars. It's certainly going to be a high priority to make the colony self-sustaining as best as possible. I suspect there'll be all sorts of trace materials, minerals, I guess, vitamin supplements that will need to be supplied for a considerably longer time. But hopefully the bulk of our food will be grown on Mars as quickly as possible. But I could see that taking, at least a decade once we have a serious effort established on Mars with a sizable population that can actually focus on issues of generating their own resources in situ. With that in mind, since we're going to need to supply pretty much all of our food for quite a while from Earth, then our bodies aren't going to adjust. I don't think. Maybe our bodies will adjust in frequency. I can see you laughing about that. All by itself. I don't think so, though. We'll see. I wanted to bring up the self-sustaining nature of a Mars colony because it's been shown that about every 4 years or so, our bodies are almost entirely replaced with new cells. Cells die, cells get expelled, and there's very little that stays the same in our bodies. So every 4 years, every or so, we have entirely new bodies. It's a shame they don't stay the same age, but the reason why I bring that up is once there's a substantial amount of food being generated on Mars, then our bodies will become Martian, and will then be more in tune to that planet, and we will truly become Martians. Then of course the problem becomes, because people are Martian, once they get to Earth, they're Martians, they're not earthlings anymore. And if they stay on the planet for any length of time, on Earth that is, then that same itch is going to show up again. So, I know it sounds like a weird subject to talk about, but I honestly do think it's something that needs to be kept in mind, and maybe even paid attention to over the long haul of Martian colonization. More soon.